next, 63 kilos, Marty Calder and Nasir Lal. Marty Calder, a local wrestling legend in St. Catharines, Ontario, had a son born last July, and that's changed his perspective.
Well, definitely changed, especially, having a family and whatnot. But I tend to lean in a little bit more on the personal side and trying to satisfy myself a little bit more than when I was younger and trying to appease others. So I do have some high expectations, but I leave them, kind of to myself and make sure that I get a lot out of the sport, and I'm happy when it's all done.
And Chris, before this match, Marty told me he's thinking about retirement after all these years and all those Olympic trials and all that traveling with a baby at home. His priorities are changing.
Well, Marty's a real character, done a ton for this sport, good friend of mine, teammate for years, and it's been interesting to see his maturity over the years, first getting married and now with the son. I think he'll probably stick around, though, because I think it's a little bit too tempting to pack it in this time.
He's up against Nasir Lal. Nasir emigrated to Canada in the mid-90s after competing internationally for Pakistan at the '88 Olympics and Afghanistan at the '92 Games.
And these guys have had a bit of a history, too. They've wrestled each other quite often. Calder usually having the advantage, basically based on experience and a bit of skill. Tight matches, though, usually. Here does a good counter on Lal. Hasn't got quite the point yet. Hasn't got that knee down.
Calder up 3-0 in this second match. He won the first, despite a thumbing in the eye in that opening match.
Here he has Lal in a bit of trouble. He's got that arm locked at the back there, although it looks like he's not really using it right now.
It's been quite a career for Marty Calder. He's a 5-time national senior champion, Olympian, 3 times at the Pan Am Games, 5 times at the World Championships, gold medal at the '94 Commonwealth Games. What a record of achievement.
But, and like I said, he's done a lot for the sport otherwise. He does a lot of wrestling camps. He talks to kids around Ontario, and just a great ambassador for our sport. Here, Nasir Lal has to be a little bit more aggressive. He's got to get some points. Calder is a great counterattack wrestler. We saw that there. Nasir makes the initial attack. Marty counters it, turns it into offense for himself, and that's really what Marty's known for.
You may notice that all their boots are taped. That's not a football maneuver. That's actually the rules now, to keep the laces tied during entire match, because athletes sometimes untie them for delaying purposes.
Well, we've had a few examples of that in the past, and also, sometimes they just don't tie their shoelaces that tight to begin with, so that hopefully during the match they come undone and they get a little bit of a breather. And I think this is a good rule, because that used to frustrate me as a wrestler.
A bit like the goaltender checking out his equipment on a 5-minute power play in a hockey game.
Or getting a new stick and that kind of thing, yeah.
Gamesmanship. Calder in control, 5-0 now with just over a minute to go in this second match. Round number 2, he won the first.
Sometimes in a real tight match, not that this is so tight, but that 1 minute can take it seems like it takes forever, because you're trying to hold on to the lead. For the person who's losing, it seems like it takes 10 seconds, because they got to try to score in that time and go real quick.
I asked Marty if he ever hears his coach during a match. He says, well, let's put it this way. If I am hearing the coach, things aren't going very well.
Here, Nasir did a good job of getting the takedown here, but Calder's pretty tough to turn. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of skill on the ground.
Last few seconds now, Calder just hanging on. Chalk up another Olympic trial victory. Whether it's a trip to the Olympics, we're not sure. He was really at odds about whether to continue. It's tough when there's so much travel involved, especially with the process these athletes will have to go through from beginning of January until the spring with all those tournaments around the world.
Well, for sure. It's tough at any time. Some of these competitions take a lot out of you. A lot of the travel there is pretty tough. And now, he's married. He's got a new baby. It does, it does really put a strain on you to make that commitment for the next 6-7 months.
Marty Calder, a legend in Canadian wrestling, wins this Olympic trial at 63 kilos over Nasir Lal.
And really, there wasn't really a tight match for Marty. Both matches, he was in total control, wrestled fairly conservatively, but did what he had to do to win. Here we see one of those points. Nasir's got the leg. Marty's countering, pulls him back, exposes his back, tries to hold him there for that 5-second exposure for that extra point. And that really shows a lot of skill and composure.
He was there for Canada in 1992 and 1996. Marty Calder, Olympic trial champion again, and a nice wave to the crowd. And I know before the match you're talking about maybe this might be it for you. How are you feeling right now about the future?
Well, like I said, I was going to take some time after. But right now, as far as the present, I'm pretty happy. I'll be a good guy this weekend, and there's a lot of pressure here. So I'm pretty pretty satisfied with my results, and I'll have to settle down a bit before I make a decision on what's going to happen.
What was the key to this match for you today?
Well, the first one had to start quick. He's got a lot of power and a lot of natural athletic ability, so I really wanted to control his maneuvers and not let him get set up beforehand because, like I said, he does have some really good athletic attributes, so I just want to make sure, tire him out a little bit before the old guy got to him.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.